The Twins beat the Red Sox 6-5 in Boston Tuesday night. Cleveland lost, so the division lead is up to 6.5 games. Wow. This game was 6-0 at one point. Boston did a nice job fighting back. Lots and lots of creative pitching usage by Rocco Baldelli in this game. Let's get right into it. So, from the get-go, Randy Dobnak, Rocco played it very cool when asked pregame what to expect. He kind of threw it out there. He could go an inning. Maybe he could go more. I don't know. We'll see. So he was trying to keep Boston guessing in this one. And Dobnak did just go the one inning and then turned it over to Lewis Thorpe. At the end of the day, Dobnak with yet another shutout inning. He does not look to be bothered at all. At the end of the day, Lewis Thorpe's total line here doesn't look great. Oh, by the way, I didn't put the game score on Dobnak because when there's an opener, I'm not going to bother calculating that out. Thorpe only gave up 2 hits in his 3 1/3 inning. He actually made it through a whole turn through the Red Sox lineup, looking really good. He retired 9 in a row at one point. You can see he got 9 swinging strikes, 4 strikeouts in that. So there are certainly some positives. He's looking good for a while. He gave up 3 earned runs, but some of those were inherited runs that Trevor May gave up. We'll get to that in a sec. Strike percentage, not great. Walked a couple guys. Wasn't throwing great first prick strikes. That's not very good. So very up and down, kind of an uneven outing for Thorpe. That is a lot of what you could say about his entire AAA season. He was among the league leaders in some stats, but then he would have a bad outing or, he'd give up more runs than you'd think from, you give up 2 hits in an outing and you have 3 earned runs. That's kind of a lot of the trouble that he ran into in AAA this year. But I thought, overall, when looking at him through the lens of this is a guy who's way more than likely going to be in the Twins rotation next year, I thought it was encouraging to see him do what he did in Boston against a tough Boston lineup, a team that's trying to get into the playoffs.
Fouled him late. He was a little bit on tardy side.
And Tendy takes.
And what Burt, a nice easy motion and zip it's by him. Wow, yeah. Look at that performance.
A 1-2-3-4 for.
But again, he had to hand the ball over to Trevor May. Let's actually go into that sequence. I thought that was kind of the most, even though this game got thick in the 9th inning with Rogers nailing down the save, but it was sketchy for a minute there. But I still think in the 5th inning when there was the transition from Thorpe to May was probably the most interesting sequence of events and possibly, in my opinion, maybe the one really bad call that Rocco Baldelli made with his pitching staff. So you can see here, again, you got to acknowledge the fact that Thorpe didn't set things up great. He walked the leadoff man. He gave up a base hit. However, this wild pitch that he was credited, Jason Castro will tell you that he should have gotten in front of this ball. It was not. It was a curveball that he just buried, and Castro kind of just was lazy about it, just tried to backhand it, basically. So that never should have happened. These 2 runners shouldn't have advanced. Holt grounds out. Who knows? That could have been a double play ball without that wild pitch. Instead, it's an RBI ground out. So that's how Boston got their first run. Then again, Thorpe walks a guy. So definitely can't just give him a free pass on what goes on here. He was starting to struggle. But that's when May comes in to face Mookie Betts, and he gets him to fly out. So that's great. But then the left-handed hitting Rafael Devers comes up. And take a look at what Devers is doing against right-handed pitching this year. Came into this game with an OPS over 1,000, 21 homers against right-handed pitching. So he's just been a monster against right-handed pitchers. And he blasts a 3-run home run off Trevor May. So when you have expanded rosters, when you have a gargantuan bullpen, unfortunately the Twins don't have many lefties. Their only guy they could have gone to in this spot really would have been Devin Smeltzer to get Devers. I don't know. Do you just leave? Thorpe was struggling. Would you leave him in to face Betts knowing that Devers is coming? Maybe that's not a good idea, but you could have gone, situational for both Betts and Devers there if you wanted to. Definitely some second guessing for sure. But just taking a look at the usage there, that's an easy one to look back and second guess on when a guy who crushes righties hits a 3-run bomb off a right-handed pitcher. But then May gets out of the inning with a Xander Bogaerts ground out. Let's jump back here. And from there was Tyler Duffy and Sam Dyson, who I talked about last time he pitched. I kind of said I'm not super worried about him, but I also don't want to see him in high leverage situations. I list out the leverage in this stack of stats as the leverage index when the player entered the game, because I think that gives you a little bit more of a window into how Rocco Baldelli is deploying these guys. If a guy pitches his way into a high leverage situation, that's a different story. We'll talk about that in a sec. But you can see Dyson entered in the highest leverage situation of any relief pitcher in this game. So Rocco clearly disagreed with me, and he's totally comfortable rolling with Dyson. And you know what? He pitched good. He pitched good today in Boston. So great to see that. He's really struggled since that trade. Basically, as good as he was with the Giants, he's been that bad with the Twins so far. So very encouraging to see him go out there and have a good outing. But they turned to Taylor Rogers to try to make a 4-out save. Again, the leverage index when he entered this game, it was 6-4. There was only 4 outs left to get. Leverage index wasn't that high. He ended up giving up a home run. Luckily, it was only a solo home run to let Boston within a run of the Twins. And then the leadoff man got on in the 9th inning. So his leverage index in this game reached 5.4, which anything above 2 is considered high leverage. So if you hear anybody quoting high leverage stats, typically that means they're talking about any leverage index situation of 2 or higher. This was at 5.4, the second highest leverage index that Taylor Rogers has pitched in this season. So if you feel kind of crazy that you were nervous, your heart was about to jump out of your chest, no, that's legit, man. This was super high leverage pitching for Taylor Rogers. He's not been great pitching back-to-back days. So that was a good discussion that was going on Twitter. Here we'll jump over to Baseball Reference, and I'll show you. This is in 2019. Obviously, Rogers has been amazing, but look at that. He's got a 7.82 ERA and 1.97 WHIP on 0 days rest. And my immediate thought is like, well, okay, that's only 12.2 innings. That's not a ton. What does his career look like? And his career numbers, while not that bad, also show that he's much worse with 0 days rest than he is with 1 or 2 days rest. And that's a 53 in a third inning sample. And you can see the especially alarming thing is some of this stuff, there's some fluctuation, but to see the strikeout to walk ratio being so much worse. So definitely the 0 days rest thing is something that when Rogers goes out there to be a little wary of. And like I said, he gave up the solo home run to Benintendi in the 8th, but he got the job done in this game. Let's jump. I'm going to give you highlights of the final out of the game where he struck out Devers, who hit that big home run, and we'll be right back.
Straight up. Strike 1. Breaking ball Strike 3, got him.
What a way to end the game. What a big win. And for Rogers to go out there and get a 4-out save in Boston against this lineup, to go through the heart of that lineup to get there and in a sketchy situation. Awesome to see. Oh, man. This is going to be tough. If things are this nerve-wracking with a 6.5 game lead now, and we're barely into September. Whew, boy. But let's jump over to, I think that's all I had. Let's just make sure. Yep, pretty much. That sums it all up. It was fun to see some of the guys, by the way, Twins Prospect Handbook, get one of these bad boys. It's great to see some of the guys like Dobnak and Thorpe, who we've been reading about a lot in the minors and watching pitch down on the farm, pitch in this game in Boston and kind of set the tone early. Like I said, the Twins got off to a 6-0 lead. Obviously, the bats were impressive tonight, hitting the bombas, but those guys didn't back down from the challenge. And let's jump over to the bullpen usage report. I'm definitely going to have to get out of the way here. And shrink this down. That's the tricky part was I took Dobnak off So it's like, well, he's a starter now. Well, he only threw 1 inning. So obviously I'm leaving him and Thorpe on whatever they're staying on this bullpen spreadsheet. So we look at this here, and some news to relay. The bullpen grew even more. Hildenberger, Harper, and Romero all joined the Twins bullpen. You can see I included any minor league outings they had here. And just taking a look, what are some concerns? Well, we have Taylor Rogers. He's not going to be available. He's not going to pitch 3 days in a row. Tyler Duffy, he's not going to pitch 3 days in a row. Another thing to keep in mind, Thorpe and Rogers are 2 of your 3 lefties. So your only lefty available in the bullpen is Devin Smeltzer, unless I'm forgetting somebody. It's difficult to take a look through all these dudes. But no, that's right. So I think Devin Smeltzer is your only lefty who's going to be available for you tomorrow. Other than that, I think everything else looks pretty good. May, even though he threw 25 pitches, he'll be available. But Duffy won't. Again, Dyson, he's been working pretty much every other day. He hasn't thrown any high pitch numbers, but you probably would like to not have to go to him. Romo will almost definitely pitch tomorrow, would be my prediction, just given all the guys who are unavailable. And they're going to have to get, somebody else is probably going to have to step up if this isn't a long start. A Hildenberger, a Harper is going to just step back in. One of those guys, Littell, Stashak. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. And it's Jose Barrios Day. They got him an extra day of rest. So he will be starting tomorrow, Wednesday. So hopefully the Twins keep this going. But again, they've bought themselves some wiggle room, 6.5 game lead. I feel like going into Boston, you take 1 game, that's what you kind of need to do. So they've already got that out of the way, playing with house money at this point. So it should be fun. Again, this has been Tom Froming from TwinsDaily.com. Thanks for checking this out, and we're going to talk again soon. Have a good one.